Can you believe it? I woke up one Saturday morning expecting the sweet serenity of birds chirping on my family farm, only to discover my HOA had turned it into their illegal parking lot. And the kicker? They had no clue I held the power line feeding their entire smug little community in the palm of my hand. What would you do if you found out your annoying entitled neighbors relied on your land to keep their fancy lights glowing? Tell me, where are you watching this crazy saga from? Drop it in the comments below. I never, ever imagined I'd be declaring war on my neighbors, but that's exactly what went down when the roar of engines and the slam of car doors ripped me out of bed at 7:00 a.m. My peaceful weekend shattered. This isn't just some random plot of dirt we're talking about. It's my grandfather's farmhouse, standing tall and proud for over 70 years, long before those cookie-cutter mansions popped up like weeds around it. 3 years ago, when Grandpa passed, I inherited this 10-acre treasure. It's not just land to me, it's my roots, my dreams, my daily dose of joy. So, picture this. I threw on my robe, stumbled outside in my pajamas, hair a mess, heart racing, and what did I see? Oh, my blood boiled hotter than a summer noon. At least 12 cars lined up in perfect mocking rows across my east field, the very spot I'd earmarked for next week's corn planting. And there she was, a woman in a crisp blue blazer. Her hair so perfect it screamed control freak, waving more cars onto my property like she owned every blade of grass. Clipboard in hand, fake smile plastered on, she oozed that vibe of someone who thinks they're untouchable. Hey! What in the world do you think you're doing? I hollered, jogging across my yard with my loyal old farm dog, Rusty, barking up a storm at my side. She spun around, her face twisting with annoyance like I'd interrupted a royal parade. Good morning, she chirped, her smile as cold as a winter wind. It didn't even touch her steely eyes. I'm Margaret Wilson, president of the Evergreen Meadows Homeowners Association. Oh, really? I don't give a darn if you're the president of the United States. I shot back, fighting to keep my voice from trembling with rage. This is my private property, my land, and you're trespassing. Margaret tilted her head, smirking like I was some clueless kid. Oh, you must be confused, she said, glancing at her precious clipboard. This area's been designated as community overflow parking in our HOA bylaws. Are you the Davis from that old farmhouse? We've been trying to rope you into our association. Confused? Me? Not confused at all, I snapped, yanking out my phone to shove my property deed in her face. I've never signed a single HOA paper. This land's been in my family for generations. We're not part of your little development. Her perfect smile flickered, just for a second. Well, she drawled, this has been community parking for years. The previous board must have had a deal with your grandfather. Oh, that set me off. My grandfather would never allow this, I declared, my voice firm as the oak trees he planted. He taught me to cherish every inch of this soil, every single inch. By now, neighbors were creeping closer, gawking at our showdown. Some looked sheepish, others just ticked off at the delay. One guy in golf clothes yelled, "Hurry up, we'll miss the tournament." Like I cared about their tea time. Then, oh, Lord help me, I spotted something that made my heart drop faster than a stone in a well. A massive truck was backing right toward my backfield, barreling toward the tomato plants. I'd babied for weeks. Stop that truck right now, I screamed, breaking into a frantic run. You are destroying my crops. The driver slammed the brakes, thank goodness, just inches from my precious rows, their tender green leaves trembling. He rolled down his window, looking bewildered. Lady at the entrance told me to park big rigs back here. I whipped around, and there was Margaret, hot on my heels, her face red with fury. Mr. Davis, you're making a scene, she hissed. We've got a community golf tournament today, and this is the designated overflow area. Says who? I roared. Show me one document with my signature on it. Our bylaws clearly state I'm not part of your blasted community. I cut her off, my patience gone. You've got 1 hour to get these cars off my land, or I'm calling the sheriff and having every last one towed at your expense. Her eyes narrowed into slits. You wouldn't dare. I waved my phone like a weapon. Try me. Then can you believe her nerve? She grabbed my wrist. Listen carefully, she snarled. Evergreen Meadows has the mayor, 2 city council members, and Judge Reynolds. Who do you think the sheriff's gonna back, a bunch of respected leaders or one stubborn farmer? I yanked my arm free, fury pulsing through me. Take your hands off me. That's assault now on top of trespassing. A few neighbors edged closer, catching every heated word. An older guy, bless his heart, stepped up. Margaret, maybe we should move the cars if this is really his land. It's HOA property now, she snapped, her voice sharp as a whip. And you can all thank Mr. Davis when you're late for tea time. Right on cue. A sleek black SUV rolled up, and out stepped a slick guy in a suit so pricey it screamed big shot. He strode straight to Margaret, ignoring me like I was invisible. Problem here? He asked, all smooth and smug. Margaret's face lit up like he was her savior. Perfect timing, Jeffrey. Our friend here's confused about the parking setup. He turned to me, extending a hand. I had zero intention of shaking. Jeffrey Williams, HOA attorney. And you are? The legal owner of the property you're all trespassing on. I fired back, arms crossed. His smile didn't even twitch. I get your confusion, he said, smooth as butter. The easement for community parking here was set up years ago. I've got copies in my office. An easement I never signed. I shot back. Show me the paperwork right now. Let's discuss this like adults, he cooed. Maybe over coffee. No need for threats. I scanned my farm cars squatting on my fields. These entitled folks glaring at me like I was the nuisance, and something inside me just snapped. You've got 1 hour, I bellowed. Then I'm calling the sheriff, the news, and every tow truck in the county. I stormed back to my house, their threats bouncing off me like rain on a tin roof. Inside, my hands shook so bad I could barely punch the numbers into my phone. County Records Office. A kind voice answered. This is Alex Davis from the old Miller farm outside Evergreen Meadows. I blurted. I need to check for easements or agreements on my property. It's urgent. We close at noon, they said. Can you come now? I glanced at my watch. 9:15 a.m. I'll be there in 2020. Grabbing my keys, I peeked out the window. Unbelievable. More cars were piling in. Margaret was directing a pickup to squash my tomato plants, smirking at my house like she'd already won. This wasn't about parking anymore. This was all-out war. The county records office was eerily quiet that Saturday, just 2 folks holding down the fort. An older man looked up as I burst in, breathless. I'm Alex Davis. I called about the Miller farm records. He nodded, offering his hand. Frank Jenkins. Been here 30 years. I knew your grandfather. That stopped me cold. You did? Oh, old man Miller was a legend. Frank grinned, sharp as a tack, especially about guarding his land. He ushered me into a little room packed with filing cabinets and computers. Your place has quite a story, he said. The Evergreen Meadows developers hounded your grandpa to sell for years. He never budged. Darn right he didn't, I said, chest swelling with pride. Drove 'em nuts, Frank chuckled. They even tried condemning it once, calling it a public nuisance. My gut twisted too familiar. He hauled out thick folders, deeds, tax records, permits, and spread them out, slipping on reading glasses. After 20 nail-biting minutes, he leaned back. Just as I figured, no easement for parking or access here. Not one scrap of paper, says your grandpa. Let the HOA touch his land. Relief crashed over me like a cool wave. So they're trespassing for sure? No question, Frank said. But wait, here's the juicy part. He pulled out a faded yellow document, and my heart skipped. Your grandpa gave the power company an easement 30 years back to run lines through your north corner. I leaned in, breathless. What's that mean? He unfolded a weathered map. See this? The main transformer powering Evergreen Meadows, it's on your land. Your grandpa cut that deal when they built the place. The power company pays you $500 a year for it. I gaped at him. Are you kidding me? Frank's eyes sparkled. Their whole community's juice flows through your property. You've got legal control of that transformer. Can they move it? I blurted, my voice trembling with a wild mix of hope and disbelief as I stared at Frank across that dusty table in the county records office. Not easily, he shot back, his tone calm but loaded with weight that hit me like a freight train. It'd cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Can you imagine that kind of cash? And they'd need county approval, new permits, and probably a long, messy service interruption. Oh, and here's the best part, they'd need your permission to kill that easement. My mind spun like a tornado tearing through my fields. What did this mean for me? I could hardly keep up with the possibilities racing through my head. But wait, what about those payments? I demanded, leaning forward so fast I nearly knocked over his coffee mug. I've never seen a dime from the power company. Frank's fingers danced across his keyboard, and he squinted at the screen. Hold on to your hat. They've been piling up in a trust account under your grandfather's name since he passed. It's been sitting there growing, just waiting for you. You've got to call Pinewood Electric and update that info pronto. I stumbled out of that office, clutching a stack of copied documents, my heart hammering like a drumline, anger and excitement battling it out inside me. The drive home was a blur as I gripped the steering wheel, replaying Frank's words. Could this really be my ace in the hole? I yanked out my phone and dialed Pinewood Electric's emergency line before my truck even rolled to a stop. This is Alex Davis, I barked, my voice shaking with urgency. I own the land where Transformer Station at 245 sits. I need someone now about unauthorized access to that equipment. After 2 maddening transfers, seriously, why does it always take forever? I got Ron Fletcher, the operations manager. Mr. Davis, what's the trouble? He asked, his tone steady but curious. The Evergreen Meadows HOA is claiming rights to my property, I exploded. I'm freaking out about people messing with that transformer station. Whoa, that's serious, Ron replied, and I could hear the concern kick in. That station powers over 200 homes. Only our authorized techs should be anywhere near it. Exactly what's got me on edge, I shot back. I'm slapping security cameras up today. Can you tell me who's legit to be there? Only Pinewood techs with proper ID, he assured me. I'll email you our maintenance schedule so you know when we're coming. No surprises. Perfect, I said, a spark of a plan igniting in my chest. By the time I swung into my driveway, I was ready to fight. But can you believe it? Most of those trespassing cars were gone from my field. Only 3 stragglers lingered, their deep tire tracks slicing through my tomato patch like cruel scars. I stepped out, phone in hand, and surveyed the wreckage my poor plants flattened. Weeks of sweat and hope crushed under rubber. How could they do this to me? I snapped photo after photo, each click fueling my fury and heartbreak. Inside, I printed those county docs and stuffed them into a folder, my hands trembling with purpose. Then I dug through Grandpa's old trunk, God bless him, and found his meticulous property surveys, every boundary and landmark etched in his steady hand. Just as I zipped the folder shut, a sharp knock rattled my door. There she was, Margaret, smug as ever, with Jeffrey Williams, that slick HOA attorney, at her side. 2 others loomed behind them, a stern-faced guy who looked like he chewed nails for breakfast, and a nervous young woman clutching a clipboard like a lifeline. Mr. Davis, Margaret purred, her voice dripping with fake sweetness that made my skin crawl. We've brought the parking agreement for you to sign, just a little formality. I stared her down, my jaw tight. No cars on my land by day's end, I growled. And I want cash for the damage to my crops now. Jeffrey edged forward, his fancy suit rustling. That's not how this works, he said, all smooth and condescending. The HOA board's already voted this is community space. We're just asking for cooperation. And if I say no, I challenged, crossing my arms. The stern guy piped up. I'm Robert Thompson, city councilman, he said, his voice heavy. This community's a big tax boon for the city. Surely we can find a deal that works for everyone. The clipboard girl shifted, looking like she'd rather be anywhere else. An environmental study for new parking in Evergreen Meadows would take months, she mumbled. This is the only real option for events. I flashed a smile. Oh, it threw them off. Guess where I just came from, I said, holding up my folder like a trophy. The county records office. There's no easement for parking on my land, never has been. Margaret waved a dismissive hand. Old papers can be fixed, she sneered. Oh, but here's the kicker, I went on, pulling out the easement docs. Your neighborhood's transformer? It's on my land. Their faces priceless. Margaret's smile vanished like smoke. Jeffrey tugged at his tie, and the councilman actually stepped back. I'm revoking access for non-essential maintenance until this mess is sorted, I declared, my voice ringing with triumph. I've already told Pinewood Electric about unauthorized folks near their gear. You can't do that, Margaret sputtered, her composure cracking. People have medical equipment, refrigerators. I'm not cutting your power, I clarified, standing taller. I'm just using my rights the same way you're trying to steamroll mine over my farm. The councilman cleared his throat, nervous now. Let's not rush into anything. Surely we can figure this out. Oh, I've got a plan, I said coolly. All cars off my property by 5:00 p.m. Full payment for my crops? And a signed paper saying my land's not yours deal? Or what? Margaret snapped, her edge dulled. I waved the easement dock like a flag. Or I block maintenance access next week. Hot summer's coming. Imagine your system frying because it can't be serviced. They scurried off, whispering furiously as they piled into their cars. I watched from my window, a rush of victory tinged with dread. Margaret wasn't the type to quit. My phone buzzed. Ron from Pinewood. Mr. Davis, heard there might be an issue with Et245. Everything okay? I sucked in a breath. The HOA thinks they own my land, I said. It's a mess. That's bad news, Ron replied. That transformer's vital. Any access trouble could tank service for hundreds. I don't want anyone in the dark, I insisted. I just need them off my back. How about this? He offered. I'll swing by Monday to check it out. Sometimes a uniform shakes things loose. I thanked him, a flicker of hope flaring. But oh no, that hope crashed fast. Through my window, I saw Margaret's car roaring back, trailed by 3 police cruisers, lights blazing. This wasn't over, it was just heating up. There they stood on my porch, Margaret and Jeffrey waving that cursed parking agreement, their smug grins boiling my blood. I kept my cool barely. I'm not signing a thing, I said, firm as Grandpa's old oak. You've got 24 hours to clear my land and fix my fields. Jeffrey leaned in, suit crinkling. That's not how it works, the boards voted. And guess what I found? I cut in, whipping out the easement papers. Your transformer? It's on my land. Their faces flipped so fast it was almost comical. Margaret's smile died. Jeffrey's swagger crumbled. That's impossible, she hissed, snatching the papers. See for yourself, I said. Grandpa locked this deal down years ago. Pinewood pays me yearly for that transformer feeding every house in your precious Evergreen Meadows. Jeffrey fiddled with his tie, nervous now. Doesn't change the parking, he muttered. Oh, it changes everything, I fired back. I'm blocking non-essential maintenance until this is fixed. I've told the power company already. You can't, Margaret yelped, her face flaming. People need power, kids, elderly. I'm not shutting it off, I said, grabbing my docs back. I'm just playing my rights card like you're trying to play yours over my farm. Funny how that stings, huh? She was on her phone before they hit the car, yelling as they peeled out. Within 30 minutes, my phone lit up with HOA calls. I ignored every one. Instead, I rang Pinewood's legal team, confirmed my rights, locked in notifications for any transformer work. By dinner, cars started vanishing from my field. Drivers scurried, glancing warily at my house. By nightfall, it was clear. Victory tasted sweet, but I knew the war wasn't won yet. The next morning, I dragged myself out of bed at dawn, my stomach churning with dread. Could the damage really be as bad as I feared? I stepped into the crisp air and faced my east field, and oh, my heart sank like a stone. Tire tracks had carved cruel scars through my land, crushing my tender young plants and smashing the soil. I'd spent months nurturing with love and sweat. How could they ruin something so precious? I grabbed my phone, snapping photos and videos, each click a desperate cry to capture the wreckage, every flattened stalk a stab to my soul. As I finished, a familiar voice broke through my haze. Morning! It was Elena, my kind neighbor from Evergreen Meadows, strolling along the fence with her scruffy dog wagging its tail. Emergency HOA meeting last night. Never seen Margaret so furious, she called out. Curious and a little alarmed, I trudged over. What in the world happened? I asked, my voice tight with worry. She tried to scare everyone, swearing you're out to cut off our power, Elena said, her eyes wide. But old Mr. Henderson, he's sharp, used to be a lawyer, shut her down fast. He said, if that transformer's really on your land and we've been parking there without permission, we're in deep legal hot water. She dropped her voice to a whisper, leaning closer. Half the board wanted to back off right then, but Margaret, she's relentless, convinced the rest you're bluffing. Said no one dare risk the bad press of threatening a whole community's electricity. My mind raced. Bluffing? Me? Elena fidgeted, looking uneasy. Just watch your back, okay? She muttered something creepy about other ways to deal with problem neighbors. Gave me chills. I thanked her, my gut twisting with a mix of gratitude and fear. Other ways? What did that even mean? I spent the morning on the phone, calling every fencing company in the county to fix the gashed sections. Those cars had torn through. 2 weeks, 2 whole weeks, was the soonest anyone could come. How was I supposed to protect my land that long? That afternoon, hunched over repair estimates at my kitchen table, I heard the mail truck rumble by. I shuffled out to the mailbox and, oh, you won't believe this, pulled out a certified letter with the Evergreen Meadows HOA logo glaring at me. Inside, a formal notice that hit like a punch, fining me $5,000 for unauthorized landscape modifications and agricultural activities, contrary to community aesthetic standards. Can you imagine the nerve? It demanded I ditch all farming gear visible from their precious roads and stop my commercial work in 72 hours, or face $500 daily fines. And there at the bottom, Margaret's signature with a snide little note. Perhaps now you'll reconsider our generous parking agreement. Generous? I'd call it theft. I read it 3 times, my hands shaking so bad the paper rattled, anger boiling up like a storm. Then I spotted it. The letterhead claimed my address was part of Evergreen Meadows. What? I grabbed my phone and dialed Frank at the county records office, my voice trembling. They can't find me if I'm not even a member, right? I pleaded after spilling the story. Nope, not a chance, he confirmed, steady as ever. But watch out, HOAs like this are ruthless. They'll grind you down if you let them. What do? I begged. Document every darn thing, get security cameras up, and call Oliver Jenkins. He's a lawyer who eats overreaching HOAs for breakfast. Took down a similar mess in Pine Creek last year. I thanked him, my resolve hardening, and jumped online to order camera stat. Mid-checkout, an email pinged the power company had just dropped this year's easement payment into my account. A spark of an idea flared. Could this be my edge? I found Oliver Jenkins' number and left a breathless voicemail, laying out my fight. Then I marched out to that transformer on my land, that little green box I'd barely glanced at before, now glowing with importance. As I got close, oh no, fresh footprints circled it in the mud. Someone had been here, and recently. The access panel hung slightly open, tampered with. Before I could process it, a shout pierced the air. That's him. Margaret, pointing at me like a hawk, screeching to a power company worker nearby. He was just messing with it. My heart slammed against my ribs. She was framing me. Me, of all people.